Brian, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, thanks, Scott. I appreciate you having me on today. I have been down in the Tampa area since 2002. I moved here from Minnesota. Anybody that's been in Minnesota in the winter can tell you. They'll know why I'm here now.
That's right. But, you're a Vikings fan. I almost forgot about that. You guys are actually having a good season, though.
For once. Yeah. So, like I said, came down here in 2002. Bounced around a little bit, try to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And in 2005, decided real estate was the route I wanted to go. Been doing it full time since then. And so I've seen the ups and downs with the crash of the market and all that kind of good stuff. So been doing real estate ever since, and really enjoy it, and really enjoy getting to work with people and help them with such a large investment.
That's awesome. Well, when we were talking just a little bit ago, and I was giving some of those examples, I was kind of saying maybe you could help us with some market statistics.
Sure.
Maybe some what is, I don't even know what the average size home is in this area. I don't sell real estate. I finance real estate. So correct. I'm not out there looking at properties. That's what you do. So give me some statistics. What's going on in the Tampa Bay market?
Well, to touch on, your average size home, that's going to it's going to vary a little bit on, the area of town you're in. If you're in South Tampa, $250,000 isn't going to go as far as it's going to go, like you said, in Riverview, where it's going to get you that nice big house.
Right.
So a lot of that has to vary on where you're looking. But as far as market statistics, I've got some stuff from the Greater Tampa Association of Realtors, and what I have here is kind of what's happened over the last year as far as inventories.
Right.
Our inventories have gone from September of last year, we had about a 4.5-month supply, to September of this year, we have a 3.4-month supply. And for those of you that are not familiar with how a real estate inventory works, what that means is if nothing hit the market in the next 3.4 months, everything would be sold. We would have nothing left. And the experts, quote-unquote experts, say that a 6-month inventory is a balanced market. It's not a buyer's market. It's not a seller's market. Anything below that number is considered a seller's market. So we are in the midst of a seller's market right now.
Well, and I can attest to that because I know when I'm seeing my buyers that I pre-qualify, they're out there looking at these properties. If they don't jump on that property, the minute it seems like that it hits the multiple listing service, it's gone. It's especially in the desirable areas, the Palm Harbors, the South Tampas, places like that. I'm seeing properties move so fast. I've got buyers out there that are chomping at the bit to buy a house, but every time they make an offer, they're getting beat out. There's multiple offers. So I can attest to that. I'm seeing it myself on my end.
Yep, and along with that, we've seen the prices coincide. As those inventories go down, it's your classic supply and demand.
Sure.
And our prices have gone up quite a bit. The average sales price in the Tampa Bay area, which includes Hernando, Pasco, Hillsborough, Pinellas counties, has gone from $199 up to $222. So we're up about 11.3% year over year.
Wow, that's a big increase. Well, the good news is rates haven't increased that much. So
correct.
Rates are staying low, which keeps things affordable. So that's the good news there. We saw a tremendous downturn in the market several years ago. I think it's healthy that we're seeing the things that are going on today. But I always get a little nervous because I firmly believe if we can keep things at about a 4 to 5, 6% appreciation, I think in the long run it's a healthier market.
Agreed.
So
agreed.
You got any other hot tips for us? Any other hot statistics?
Just based on, you had talked about how things are moving so quickly. The average days on market has also decreased by about 7.5% down to 49 days on market. And I can tell you that number is a little bit skewed because if your house is priced correctly, it's not going to be on the market for 49 days.
No.
That's taking into consideration these houses that are overpriced and they sit on the market for 6 months. But if you're pricing your house right, what I'm seeing is within 30 days you can have your house sold at a pretty good price.
Right. Or what about the guy that's got his house on the market? I see this sometimes. They've got their house listed on the market. They've kind of overpriced it on purpose because they're trying to avoid a foreclosure.
Correct.
I see that sometimes.
Yes, and some people, unfortunately, some people are in the position where that's the only option they have.
Yeah.
But that's a great lead into the next stat I have is foreclosure sales are down over the last year, which is great, and it's for a healthy market. The short sales are down about 25%. Our bank-owned foreclosures are down about 23%, and our traditional sales are up about 31%. So
that's awesome.
That's a very healthy thing for the real estate market, and it's to me, it's a sign of good things to come.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to have all those foreclosures and REOs out there unless you're an investor with really deep pockets.
Yeah. Well, speaking of deep pockets, I know one thing that I'm seeing a lot, which is not good for my business. I know you probably are seeing it as well. There's a lot of cash buyers out there.
There is.
Yeah. Do you think most of those cash buyers are coming on the investment side, or I'm still seeing a lot of even owner-occupied?
There are owner-occupied, but in my experience, most of the deals I do with cash are investors. You will get the cash deals once in a while, which, like you said, no fun for you. It's great for me, but
yeah.
But a lot of people, that's not reality. The majority of people don't have $200,000 just to go throw down on a house.
Right.
But you do see it, and I don't think that's a bad thing either, because it shows that the economy as a whole is recovering.
Absolutely.
We're going through some pretty tough times.
Well, it's not a bad thing, but I would encourage people to use other people's money, OPM. Remember, rates are low. Even if you do have $250,000 or $300,000 to put down on a property, maybe keep $150,000 of it aside. Finance the other $150,000 at 4% interest, and see if you can go do better in the market, because I bet you can.
Yep.
So,
and money is, like you said, money's dirt cheap, and leveraging is a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. So on the buy versus rent topic, give me your 2 cents. What are some of the things you're dealing with the home buyer and the home seller out there? Where
Sure.
I typically only deal with the home buyer.
Sure.
Give me your take on that.
Okay. First of all, as a buyer versus a renter, as you touched on before, the first thing you want to do is you want to educate yourself and make sure that you're doing the thing that's best for you, and that you're, not going to put yourself in a bad position down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, if you have the down payment money and you're not drying up all your savings, and you can get the house you want, there's not many instances where I would suggest renting over buying. There are a couple. And the two instances where I would say maybe renting versus buying is if you're new to the area and you have no idea where you want to live. Tampa Bay is a big area.
Yeah.
Do you want to be in St. Pete? Do you want to be in South Tampa? Do you want to be in Riverview? Do you want to be in Land O'Lakes?
New Tampa. Yeah.
You've got to find that out first, because you don't want to buy and 6 months down the road say, I hate where I live.
Yeah.
If you're renting, that's one thing. You can get out. So that's one. And then the other that I see people renting, and I think it's a good idea, is if you're unsure about the time you're going to be in the area. If you don't know, if you think you might get a job relocation within a year, don't buy. But other than those two situations, and not having the money for the down payment that you need, and that would be a conversation I would have with you, go over the finances, things like that. I don't see a reason not to buy. Money's cheap, and why not make some appreciation rather than just renting.
Yeah, and I, you know what, I agree with you wholeheartedly on both of those points. I think those are probably the two scenarios where I would agree with you. And if somebody came to me and they told me that, I talk to clients all the time, people moving new into the area. Mm-hmm. I encourage people to rent in that situation on a regular basis. Yep. Figure out where you want to be. Call me back in 6 months. See if you could do a short-term lease. Even if you have to sign a 1-year lease, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to be here next year. Let's have a conversation about 4 or 5 months before you're ready to buy. I always encourage, if you're thinking about buying in the next year, I recommend you contact us, but if it's not us, a reputable full-time professional mortgage banker, and have a conversation with them at least 3 to 4 months before you're ready to buy a home.
Of course.
That way, in case there's anything that's off, maybe there's something reporting incorrectly on your credit report, we've got time to fix it. If you come to me and you've got a contract in hand and you got to close in 30 days and I find an error on your credit report, it becomes a little bit more complicated. We can deal with it, but it's much easier if we have a little bit of time to deal with those type of issues. So,
yes.
We encourage people to get to us sooner than later. Give me, you talked a little bit about investment properties, and I know It's always, people are always thinking about, should I invest in real estate? Is that a good investment in your estimation today?
As a whole, yes, I think it is. But again, you got to look at your individual circumstances. But just for an example, what you're able to do with real estate investing is you're able to leverage. So say you have $20,000 and you put it in the stock market, and say you get 10%. That's $2,000, pretty good, right? You take that same $20,000, you put it towards a $100,000 house, you make 10% on that, you're making $10K. You're making 5 times as much money. And say you only make half that interest, you're still making $5,000. So there is, like I said, you've got to make sure it's the right situation and things like that. But there's you can use other people's money.
Yeah, and that's the key, using other people's money. That's what we're here. We are other people's money.
Correct.
Come use our money. So.
Correct.
You know what, Brian? The time goes by so fast whenever we do these interviews. I really appreciate you coming out today.
Thank you for having me.
Like I said before, I've known Brian for a long time. I know he's one of the true pros. Patrick, thank you for coming on today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We're super excited to have you part of the team. So with that being said, we're already running out of time today. Make sure you tune in on a weekly basis. Get your education. We're here to help you. Contact us, 813-517-0795. Thanks very much.